Hello everyone, this is Sun and welcome to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about betta fish conditioning and betta fish breeding. So if you want to learn more about these topics, please watch this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So to start with, let's talk about betta fish pairing. So pairing bettas is the most important part before breeding because paired bettas have a higher chance of successfully spawning their eggs. And if your pair of bettas get acquainted to each other, the chance of fighting or bullying inside the breeding container is very low. That's the thing that we want to prevent, that's why we pair our bettas. Sometimes too much fight between bettas can result to internal injuries, torn fins, and fallen scales that can compromise or affect the overall health of your betta. But bullying between bettas during breeding is not fully preventable because it's part of the ritual, but it would only be minimal if your bettas are properly paired. So some of you might ask, how do I get my bettas paired or acquainted to each other? So as you can see on the video, I'm putting their tank beside each other to let them see each other every day for about 1 to 2 weeks, and that would be already enough for them to get paired. There is nothing much to do about betta fish pairing. All you need to do is to let them see each other every day for a certain period of time and then let the nature do its work. So you might also ask, what are the signs that bettas have already paired or get acquainted to each other? The answer is very simple. If bettas have already paired, as you can see in the video, they will flirt or flare with each other. Also, the male will create a bubble nest, and that's the sign that he is ready for the breeding or spawning the eggs. The bubble nest is an important indication to know if your male is now ready to spawn together with the female. It will also determine that your male betta is capable of taking care of the fry and the egg in the bubble nest. So it's a good sign that he's also a healthy male for your female betta. When conditioning, aside from pairing, it is also important to give your bettas the proper diet for them to have enough energy when spawning their eggs. It is ideal to give them live foods since live foods contains a lot of nutrients. In my case, I don't have any access to other live foods except mosquito larvae, and that's what I give them, and it's already enough to meet the requirements of their diet. Live foods are very beneficial for the female because they're the ones who produce eggs, and producing eggs takes a lot of energy from the female betta, and that's why live foods are very important, or it's important to give them live foods. Okay, so let's move on to betta breeding. So I have here my pair of bettas, and I already prepared a stock water in this breeding container. This water had been stuck for 2 days and is ready to be used for breeding. So first we'll put a rock salt in the water to make the pH slightly hard. Next, we'll put methylene blue to prevent the fungus from developing on the eggs, and this also prevents fungal infection on our bettas. I just used 2 drops of methylene blue, and it's already enough to minimize the spread or prevent the spread of fungus inside the breeding container. Next is to transfer the male to the breeding container. I prefer to transfer the male first, then the female, and I will show you later what's the reason behind this. But it's still your choice. For me, I prefer to transfer the male first because I find it easier than transferring the female first to the breeding tank. And the next, it's time to put the isolation chamber for the female betta. This will serve as a temporary enclosure for our female betta in order to induce the male onto creating a bubble nest. Then now it's time to transfer the female into the breeding tank. I prefer this way to transfer the female last after the male betta, so that I can observe the behavior of the male betta when I transfer the female into the breeding container. And then next, we will put a bubble wrap. This will serve as a starter for the male to create a bubble nest. It will induce the instinct of the male onto creating its shelter for the eggs. If you saw your male betta flaring towards the female, it's normal because it's trying to impress the female betta. And if you saw your female betta flared back with the male betta, it's a good sign because it means that they're both interested with each other. For now, we'll let them know each other, and tomorrow we'll see if the male had already created a bubble nest for the eggs. So for now, we'll cover the container and wait for a day, and let's see tomorrow. Okay, it's already tomorrow, and we can see that the male had already created a bubble nest for the eggs. The bubbles are thick and they covered all the entire bottom of the bubble wrap. That means that the male had made a good job in creating his own nest. So now, since the male had already created a good sized bubble nest, it's time to release the female out of the isolation chamber. So they try to get aggressive with each other immediately, but it's normal because it's a part of their ritual. So there's nothing to worry about this kind of behavior towards your pair of bettas. And then now the female is trying to inspect and observe the bubble nest that had created by the male betta. It will inspect, or she will inspect, if the bubble nest is already big and strong enough to hold the eggs of the female. For now, we will leave them like this, and we'll cover them in order to give them some privacy, and then we'll expect tomorrow some eggs on the bubble nest. Okay, it's already tomorrow, and we'll see if the male and the female betta had already laid their eggs. So we will check the bubble wrap, or the bubble nest under the bubble wrap, if there are some eggs, and there it is. There are lots of eggs on the bubble nest. I don't know if you can see it, but there are lots of eggs underneath there, but I'm gonna get the female first out of the breeding tank to avoid her from being bullied by the male betta. So I will scoop her using my hand to avoid the bubble nest being disturbed, and also the male from being disturbed, because he might get stressed and eat the eggs. After putting back your female betta back to her tank, you should feed her with foods that has lots of nutrients and carbohydrates in order for her to regain her energy from spawning the eggs. So here's another look of the eggs, and we can see that the eggs are whitish in color, and they're underneath just underneath the bubble wrap. So the male will guard and rear the eggs for 2 to 3 days until they hatch into betta fries. Then we'll see that in the other video. So if you want to learn more about this topic, please like my video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Then keep in tune for the updates, and see you again very soon.